Recorded Books and One-Click Digital present National Geographic Kids Chapters, Horse Escape Artist, and more true stories of animals behaving badly by Ashlee Brown Blewett. Read by Johnny Heller. Mariska, Horse Escape Artist. Chapter 1. A Fairy Tale Horse. It was a sunny morning in Midland, Michigan, USA. A cool breeze blew through an open kitchen window at the Bonham home on Misty Meadows Farm. Mrs. Sandy Bonham was getting ready to cook breakfast. Suddenly a big black shadow loomed past the window. Wait, make that 3 big black shadows. Mrs. Bonham glanced out the window, and her heart sank to her toes. "Hun," she yelled across the house to her husband, Don Bonham, "the horses are out. They're in the backyard." Mrs. Bonham dashed to the back door. Slowly, she slid open the door and stepped onto the deck. "Trenka," Mrs. Bonham called softly. She inched down the stairs. She stepped onto a thick bed of green grass and stopped. She didn't want to startle the herd. The horses' ears twitched. They lifted their heads and turned toward the voice. Their bodies tensed. They could easily flee. "Trenka, come," Mrs. Bonham said. For a split second, nothing happened. Then all 3 horses lunged. They sprinted toward Mrs. Bonham like a pack of playful puppies. They kissed her cheeks with their big wet horse lips. "Oh, you guys," she said. She stroked their foreheads and exhaled a deep sigh of relief. "How did you get out here?" She turned toward the barn. "Let's go," she said. All 3 horses followed her. Minutes later, Mrs. Bonham reached the large sliding barn door. It looked like a clever horse had nudged it open. Mrs. Bonham turned and eyed the herd. Trenka is a 10-year-old mare, or female. She's the mother of the other 2 horses, Mariska and Wietze. Trenka is the boss mare, or leader of the herd. But Mrs. Bonham knew that Trenka didn't always call the shots. Instead, Mrs. Bonham fingered Mariska as the guilty one. Mariska had a long record of making mischief. The Misty Meadows horses are a breed known as Friesian. Friesian horses come from Friesland, a region of the Netherlands, a country in Europe. Friesians have all black, shiny coats, and they're strong. Long ago, Friesian horses carried knights into battle. They look like a fairy tale horse, Mrs. Bonham says. That's what first made her fall in love with the breed. When Mr. and Mrs. Bonham decided to buy their first horse, it was a Friesian, of course. But first they built a barn, and instead of building just 1 horse stall in it, they built 10. With the extra room, other people could pay the Bonhams to keep their horses at Misty Meadows, too. A short while later, a family that lived down the street asked the Bonhams to keep their 2 quarter horses at Misty Meadows, and the Bonhams bought Trenka, their first Friesian. Trenka was 5 years old when the Bonhams got her in 2003. The next spring she gave birth to Mariska. Now the Bonhams had 4 horses to look after. As a baby, Mariska was allowed out of her stall to roam the barn during the day. The young horse followed Mrs. Bonham everywhere. Soon, Mariska had Mrs. Bonham's heart wrapped around her tiny little hooves. Mariska's antics or pranks began when she was about 6 months old. Mrs. Bonham entered the horse's stall one morning. Mariska walked over. She nuzzled Mrs. Bonham's neck. Then she wrapped her teeth around the zipper tab on Mrs. Bonham's coat. Zip, zip. Mariska pulled the zipper up and down, up and down. "You silly horse," Mrs. Bonham said. Next, Mariska targeted hair ties. Whenever Mrs. Bonham bent down to clean her stall, Mariska lurked nearby. With one yank, she would pull the fluffy red or blue hair tie off of Mrs. Bonham's ponytail. Then she'd try to eat it. Chomp, chomp. Mrs. Bonham then had to pull the slimy lump of cloth out of Mariska's mouth. "Ugh, Mariska, yuck," she'd say. Later that year, Mariska gave the Bonhams a big scare.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?